Deputy Howlin to conclude.
Thank you, Ceann Comhairle, and can I thank all members of the House who contributed to this debate, and in particular for the very broad acknowledgement of the work done by my colleague in the other House, Senator Ivana Bacik, whom I think has an extraordinary reputation, not only in this issue but on a cross range of areas in advancing gender equality and the equality agenda and human rights in this country. And I'm appreciative of the kind words of other members of the House in relation to that. This issue is a real and present issue. If there's anything that has come from the contribution of every member, it is an issue that must be addressed and it must be resolved. And as we've said in the explanatory memorandum in the bill that we published, this is not a silver bullet or a curative measure, but it is a mechanism to actually understand the nature and scale of the problem, and even more importantly, the location of the problem, so that we can actually provide a solution to it. It's gone on for 17 months, Minister. The notion that we can delay it further, we can continue discrimination further, for longer, and that is, no matter what way you dress it up, the impact and import of what you told the House today. My colleague, Deputy Burton, has said that Minister Stanton is a decent man, and he most certainly is. A most honourable man.
National treasure.
He's normally also a reasonable man. He's open normally, and I've had many discussions with him only last week in relation to travellers' rights. He is normally open to progressive ideas, but not tonight. Not tonight. Tactically, it seems the government will not oppose this bill, because that would bring odium upon them. They can't be seen to manifestly oppose it, but they want to hide behind, and just in case the Ceann Comhairle wasn't paying attention, slotted in very overt phrases, in case you weren't alert to this, that this bill surely requires a money message. Just in case this matter might be your sole discretion, Ceann Comhairle, Raglan Hagla, the Minister decided to point that out to you. If you don't want the political odium of opposing it outright, it really is, it's not an appropriate way of dealing with it to send this bill, which seems to be the intention now, into this new limbo we've created in this new Dáil. We've created a place of state of non-existence, a new limbo for bills that require a money message. This is new politics. I think actually my colleague Senator O'Sullivan, or Deputy O'Sullivan, talked in terms of 140 bills. I think it's closer to 200 bills from this House alone now in that state of no grace that awaits, in the pretense that new politics advances things. But increasingly, as I raised in the House with the Taoiseach last week, or sorry, it was the Minister of Justice last week, resolutions of this House, formal decisions of this our national parliament, are increasingly being treated like formal decisions of the local debating society in your third level institution. And that's very, very dangerous for our democracy. It is undermining, it is dangerous, and it can't be sustained. I talked to my colleague, Minister Ross, who sits close by me, and he said that in the beginning there was a degree of real concern at Cabinet that resolutions would be passed by the Dáil, the government would be defeated. But now it happens 3 times a week, so it's a matter of indifference. Now that is not the way Parliament should work, Ceann Comhairle. And we collectively have to address this issue. Because if it goes on that resolutions of the House or bills passed at second stage are simply put on a shelf to die of old age and neglect, then we do undermine our own democracy. And I ask people to reflect upon that point. Another concerning point to me was the view expressed by the Minister in an oblique enough way, his curious concern about the role of the Irish Human Rights and Equality Commission, which I think is a body that would have fairly universal support and admiration across this House. And the notion that he was concerned that we were giving it, to quote from the Minister's speech, a quasi-legislative power. It's simply to ask them to do up a scheme for reporting authorised by legislation of the House, of these Houses. And we often do that. We often devolve authority to agencies of state, whether it's the EPA, to bring in regulations, to monitor environmental matters. But I think somebody crafted that speech, and maybe the Minister crafted himself, but it underlines to me a worrying view of an attitude within the department to the Irish Human Rights and Equality Commission that I certainly would be more alert to into the future. Because all the concerns expressed by the Minister in his speech, you know, that I've underlined for my own benefit, but I won't rehash in the 3 minutes I have left, into the record of the House, all, as the Minister knows full well, can be readily addressed at committee. Readily addressed at committee, if that's what he wants to do. And if you have a bill that's passed one of the Houses of the Oireachtas, we can pass this week at second stage. There's only a couple of hurdles left for it. We can do committee and remaining stages this side of Christmas. If you really want to solve this issue, if you really want to address pay inequality. Because Minister Griffin came in here to say that his preference is to advance a government bill. But there is no government bill. There's the heads of a government bill that has been sent to a committee for pre-legislative scrutiny. And the clue is in the title, pre-legislative. It doesn't exist as a bill yet. So no matter what happens, that's a year away. Oh, yes, you do. But the point about it is we're here now with a piece of legislation that the Seanad has gone through committee stage, debated amendments. The government side were open to present its own amendments. Sinn Féin amendments were accepted to it. We can do that if there's further amendments to be had. Let's do this, and let's not pretend there's a difficulty. I thank all deputies for the thoughtful contributions. I shouldn't really, I know, be enticed into responding to Deputy Smith, who can't congenitally make a speech in this House without attacking the Labour Party. But that's it. But I do think I need to correct a few factual points. She said, as a matter of course, that Ireland is the worst in the EU. In fact, our gender pay, if you look at the actual stats published by the OECD, Ireland is actually better than Spain, Lithuania, Cyprus, Sweden, Netherlands, Portugal, Slovak Republic, Germany, the Czech Republic, Austria, Finland, the United Kingdom, Latvia and Estonia. And then she also says that the European Union is no good because the European Union is no guarantee of gender pay equality. In fact, 8 of the 10 best performers are EU members. I won't bother going into the other inaccuracies she had about our term in government, about the former Minister for Education beside me, about SNAs being reduced. They were massively increased in our time in government. But I suppose facts in some politics matter no more. But I try to be factual here, and I think that is something to put on the record here. But in the few seconds I have left to me, I really do believe, and we have very scarce private members' time as a smaller party now in this House, and we've selected this to bring to all stages because it has already been enacted by the other House. I would ask the Minister to think again. He will be defeated anyway. He knows that. But that doesn't matter because he will use other tactics by way of denying it a money message. I would genuinely ask that you would allow this to proceed to committee, provide the money message, proceed to committee. If at the end of it, I'll give you my own guarantee, If there are insuperable problems that you find with it at that stage, and your own bill is galloping up at a pace, we'll address that problem with an open mind at that stage. But let's solve the problem now. Let's pass this legislation and show across the House that we are genuinely committed to pay equality in this country.
Thank you very much.